You guys are able to migrate data? So if you completed that, well and good. Completed? Good. So otherwise, please spare some time. As I told you, you take time till Monday. Okay. So if it is not working, then come to me. I'll show you. I'll demonstrate. Okay. Yeah. So here in today's session, we are going to discuss some security services. Okay. So in our load balancer session, I told you that we are not going to, we are going to discuss about HTTPS later, right? So this is the type. So first, before that, a couple of services we have in AWS that is a CloudTrail. You already heard about this service, right? What exactly CloudTrail will do? It stores all the logs. Whatever activity you do in AWS, it stores that as a log. Okay. By defaultly, whenever you are creating an AWS account, the service is enabled. Whenever you are creating an AWS account, the service is enabled by defaultly. No additional things required. You no need to perform any additional things. But whatever the default one enabled, right? So that stores only last 90 days activities. It stores last 90 days activities. So if you are looking for 1 year activities or 6 months activities or or 2 years activity you want to store, see, some organization for some compliance reasons, they will store logs for 1 year also. Okay. So just to match certain compliances. For example, Naresh IT, it's a ISI 9001, 2001 certified something is there, right? Below their logo, you can find it. So if you want to have that accreditation, you need to give salary on every month first. If they're not following that, they don't get that, right? So such type of standards are there. They need to file IT. So similar way, some organizations, they want to comply with some standards. So then they will store. So in that scenario, what we are generally do, we will create a trail. We will put all the logs into an S3 bucket. Okay. So there in S3 bucket, it stores for unlimited days. But my requirement, I want to store logs only for 1 year. After 1 year, it should delete automatically. So what we can do? Do we have any option? Someone said that. Custom CloudTrail, you definitely need to create. The logs will go to S3 bucket. In S3, I want to store it for 1 year. After that, it should delete automatically.
Policies.
Come on. Lifecycle role, yes. See, in S3, we have an option, right? Lifecycle management role. So, if you want to store it for 60 days or 90 days in S3 bucket, you can store, and after that, I want to delete that automatically. I don't want to delete it. So, simply we can create a lifecycle management role on S3 bucket. Then it deletes automatically. So, CloudTrail will send all the logs to S3. You are storing all the logs for your desired days in S3 platform. Whenever you want to delete, you are configuring a lifecycle management role and you are deleting it. Okay. So you apply lifecycle management role. That is a certification question. Okay. So again, this service generally we use in all the AWS accounts, guys. So even in interview, like, the interviewer is not going to ask you what is CloudTrail, all those questions. So he will ask you, okay, hey Avinash, we have an S3 bucket. Someone deleted that S3 bucket. So now you need to investigate who deleted that, from what network they have deleted that S3 bucket, when that bucket got deleted. Okay, so get all that information. So he will give such type of event happened on our AWS account. Something happened on our AWS account, and he wants us to investigate that. So Obviously, go to CloudTrail, look for the event, or if you suspecting any specific user, you can filter by using username. If you know what exactly happened, for example, delayed bucket happened. So you select delayed bucket event and you select the time frame. Okay, last 1 week, what are the deleted bucket activities happened? You filter that. It will show all that. Okay, so then you can go to that event and it will show all the information about that event. It will be in JSON format. Who did that? When did that? All those information it will display there. Okay, so now you might get it. Okay, hey Avinash, I already deleted it. Somehow I don't want to get caught. So I want to alter that log. Is it possible? No. Altering log is not possible. You cannot modify a log. Okay, I have S3 full permission. Can I modify? Yes, you can. But that modification also will store as a log. You need to download that event, you need to modify event, you need to upload. That also will store as a log. And in CloudTrail, there is an option called log file validation. If that log file validation option is enabled, it tells us what are all the logs modified. So if you commit a mistake, you need to admit it in AWS. You don't have any option to alter the logs. Okay, delete the AWS account. That is the option you have. Right. So, or leave that job, delete account and leave that job. Right. So let's go to CloudTrail. So I'm in Mumbai region. Click on create a trail. This is going to create a custom trail. It is creating a custom trail, but as I told you, it's enabled defaultly and we can see last 90 days activities, right? Where we can find that? In left pane, you have an option called event history. Select that event history. You see here, these all are the activities happening in my AWS account. So, network interface is creating, network interface is deleting, Avinash underscore T3 is a IAM user is doing that activity, network interface deleted yesterday, delete DB cluster. Okay, so we have deleted DB cluster yesterday. So for example, I want to see entire information about the DB cluster. Go here, scroll down. So what is a DB instance? What is a DB cluster? What is a subnet? What is a security group associated to it? Okay, so then you can see the information. Okay, right. So you see here at what time it happened, who did that, everything from what network it happened. So you can get all that information here. So similar way, for example, you want to specific IAM user activities. Okay, so then we can go here. We can select username. I'm selecting username, and here I'm selecting, okay, what this Avinash underscore T user is doing from last 3 hours. Select it. So here we logged in at 9:51, December 1st, December 2nd, 9:11, just some time back, right? So I went to CloudTrail. I'm looking for events. That is also writing here. I came to the screen, I'm searching, right? So everything. Right. So you can go here, you can select an absolute time also. Okay, what exactly this guy did on December 1st at night 12 a.m. to. Again, there is a issue here. Yeah, you just need to minimize the browser size. Then you can find. And till 10, what exactly this guy did, I want to see. So then you can apply. It will show all the activities happened during that window. Okay. So this is search option, not so typical one. So now let's create a trail to store all these logs into an S3 bucket. I want to store all these logs into an S3 bucket. Okay, so for that, click on create trail, give a trail name. So basically in AWS, we have 3 types of trails, guys. So basically we have 3 types of trails in AWS. One is management trail. Second one is data trail. Third one is insight events. Management trail means all the activities happening on our AWS account. Okay, whatever activity happening in our AWS account, okay, that stores in this trail. Okay, so the second one is data events. Whenever we are discussing S3, I told you one thing. There is an option called server access logging. I told you this feature we really don't use. We have an alternative angle. I told you that. So the alternative option is this CloudTrail data event. See, if you have a bucket, you want to enable logging. For that specific bucket, you can go and enable. But if you have 10 buckets, if you have 20 buckets, in some projects, we even have 100 plus buckets also. Now, I want to enable logging for all the 100 plus buckets. Or I have 20 buckets. I want to enable logging for only 20 buckets. So going to each and every bucket, enabling logging, is that a feasible option? Definitely no. So what you can do is, you go to CloudTrail, you create a data event. So this data event supports Lambda, S3, DynamoDB. Okay, so all S3 bucket logging will store. Not only current, in future also, if you are going to create any new S3 bucket, that is also logs here. If you are depending on data events. Okay, that is the second option. Insight events means if any unusual activities happening in AWS, so then that will log. So it will keep on monitoring how much traffic is coming or going and the average traffic utilization for based on the services. If any service is getting unusual traffic and all, that will be logged in insight events. Among these 3, management event is free. Management event is free. It won't cost us anything. Okay. Management event is free. So if you want, you can create that. Now, along with this CloudTrail, we have a concept called AWS organization. That is our next week topic. Okay. So next week we will come to know we can manage multiple AWS accounts from single AWS account. You have 10 AWS accounts or you have 5 AWS accounts. Billing I want to maintain from one account. Permissions I want to maintain from one account. Okay. So if you want to do such type of multi-account, okay. If you want to do such type of multi-account thing, so then what we can do, we can enable this trail for all accounts in this organization. If we enable this option, what happened? Within this organization, how many accounts we have? 5 accounts, 10 accounts, 20 accounts? All that account logs are going to store in an S3 bucket that is in this AWS account. Okay. So for that, we can use this option. In organization, yes, we use this. There is a certification question on this topic also. Okay. So the question is, you have an external auditor. Generally, auditors will come and inspect our organization. So an external auditor is inspecting your AWS account. You have 10 AWS accounts. So that auditor required all your 10 AWS account logs. How you are going to provide access to him is a question. So he will give options like, create an IAM user in each and every AWS account, give him administrator access, allow him to view all the logs, all the services on that AWS account. One option. Second option is Provide all AWS account root credentials. Second option. Third option, create CloudTrail in a centralized AWS storage account. Get all the logs from all account and store that logs into that central storage account S3 bucket. Provide IAM user access to read data from that specific bucket only. Which is a valid answer here? Obviously, third one only. See, you are not providing access to any individual AWS account. Even in the storage account, we are using dedicated account to store all the logs. And how many buckets you have doesn't matter. The external auditor required logs and he is not going to modify the log. We really no need to give any write permissions also. He just want to read the logs. So put it in a specific bucket and give read-only access only on that specific bucket. So we are following least privileges mechanism. Same thing we can do by creating an IAM user in all the accounts. Same thing we can allow him to perform by giving root access. But where you are limiting his permissions? No, right? Or privileges we are nowhere limiting, right? So the third one is a valid answer, and this is one of the repeated certification question on CloudTrail. Right. So you give a name, test trail, or you give any name. I'm going to store all these logs into an S3 bucket. Okay. So you want to enable encryption for this, KMS. So if you want to use an existing key, you go and select it. Otherwise, you just uncheck it. Log file validation. I told you one thing. If someone alter any log, we can get that information also if this option is enabled. And SNS notification delivery. Enable. If you enable this option, what happened? For every single activity happening in your AWS account, you will get a log. Once I accidentally enable this, okay, by end of the evening, I got around 20,000 emails in my box. You go here, you give a refresh, all services are loading, right? SNS will trigger all that. So don't enable this. Right. So CloudWatch. So how exactly we are storing all these logs into an S3 bucket? Similar way, we can store all the logs into a CloudWatch logs group also. So how? Just enable this, select new and create a new role. Just give a role name. So in CloudTrail, one log group is going to create in this manner. All logs will go and store there. So what is the advantage if you are going with this CloudWatch? You don't require any additional software to view the logs. If you are putting in S3, can we view the data in S3 platform or can we read the data from an S3 object? No. You need to download to your local laptop. You need to use a software to view all that information and all. But if you are putting into CloudWatch logs, it will be in plain text format. All the logs will store in plain text format. So we can easily read that. I'll show you this. Okay. Now you want to give any tags. You can give tags. Now it is asking what type of events you want to. The first one is management event, data event, insight event. So if you select management event, all the operations performed in AWS resource and all. So the second one is data event. So this is for S3 bucket. So you select data events, click on switch to basic event selector. You see here S3 bucket, Lambda or DynamoDB. So if you select S3, then it will ask us all current and future S3 buckets read as well as write operation, or go here. I want to enable logging only for 5 buckets. So you select 5 buckets, choose. Okay. So that is a data event. Insight event also pretty straightforward. Just select insight event. It is going to enable. Okay. So as I told you, only management event is free. So select that. If you really want to test this, select management event. No additional charges. Apply. Okay. So you want to track API activities also. You want to exclude KMS activity, data, RDS data API. So you can select that. Click on next. Review screen. Create. Now you might get a doubt. Okay. So I have a server. I have an EC2 instance. I have some application running inside that EC2 instance, or I'm performing something inside that EC2 instance. Is CloudTrail capable to get the logs also? The answer is no. CloudTrail is for AWS console, AWS service. Whatever you're doing in this AWS console, so you're launching a server, it will write. You're connecting a server, it will write. But after connecting on desktop, you are deleting a file, you are creating a file, that will not comes into CloudTrail logs. It is AWS service level. So if you terminate instance again, yes. If you stop instance again, yes, it will log. But once you get connected to instance, you are installing updates, you are modifying some software, you're doing something, that won't come here. If your requirement is that, if your requirement is you have some logs inside that instance, you want to get it to AWS, for that, we can use CloudWatch event, CloudWatch agent. So there is a CloudWatch agent. So that CloudWatch agent can collect, you see, collect internal system level metrics, collect logs. Okay. So CloudTrail is purely for AWS services. From OS level, if you want to get some logs, if you want to get something, you need to go with the CloudWatch agent. Okay. Even if you are looking for custom metrics, with the help of CloudWatch, we cannot monitor one resource. What is that? Memory. We cannot monitor memory by using CloudWatch default metric. So you need to depend on CloudWatch custom metric. So that is possible with CloudWatch agent. Okay, I'll share a video for that. You go through that. Right. So now, whatever we do, launching an instance, creating an S3 bucket, everything will stores into that S3 bucket. See, by this time, we should get an S3 bucket here. You see here, that S3 bucket just created now. AWS logs, 12-digit account ID, CloudTrail, and here we will get the logs. For example, we need to do some activity to get the logs, right? I'm going to delete an S3 bucket, or you can launch an EC2 instance. Okay. So we did something. It's not real time. It will take some time to get the logs and to write it here. So that is it will store. And not only here, we have even enable cloud. What is that? CloudWatch also, right? CloudWatch logs group. This is a CloudWatch logs group. Go to logs group, give the log group name. So you go here. Okay. So you're going to get a logs here, log stream. You go here, it will store all, it will show all the logs we are getting. No logs at moment. As I told you, after some time, we'll come back here and we will see. Okay. So that is all about CloudTrail. Any questions on CloudTrail? It's a useful service. In real environments, if you want to investigate something and all, we depend on this service only. Okay. So along with this service, we have another service called config. So basically, config works along with CloudTrail. So basically, what is the purpose of this config? Right. So this config is a inventory service, and also we can track changes happening on our resources. Okay. And we are going to get a timeline. Okay, we are going to get a timeline. And also another important thing with this config, right? So we can set up compliance standards by using this config. For example, see, you have an S3 bucket, right? If someone made that S3 bucket public, you really don't want to allow that. You want to treat that resource as a non-compliant resource. Okay, immediately you want to get some notification, or you want to treat that resource as a non-compliant. Why? Because your organization have a lot of sensitive data. They don't want to make any data public. They don't want to make any data public. So obviously, someone made it. So they are crossing the limit, right? So then we want to get all the step of resource. So similar way, I want to set a standard. So all resource must follow that standard only. If anything happened out of that, so then I want to treat it as a non-compliant resource. Such type of standards also we can configure in this. We can configure in this Amazon config service. Now you will get a doubt, okay? How this config will come to know all the things or modification happening on our resources? For example, I'm setting a standard. No bucket should enable with block public access. No bucket should enable public access. So if anyone made any bucket public, that information stores in CloudTrail, right? This config will continuously read data from CloudTrail. How much data it is reading, right? For that, we are going to get charged. That is a secondary thing. Okay. So, but whatever standard we have set up, if it is matching, if anything is matching, it will get all that log information. It will show in the dashboard. Okay, this bucket is now public. It will show in red color. So we can go there and we can see who did that, when did that, what bucket. Then raise an incident, ask for an explanation why he did. Okay. So such type of standards we can configure. No bucket should be public. No RDS snapshot should be public. No EBS snapshot should be public. All the S3 buckets we are creating for a client should be enabled with encryption. No data should be unencrypted. No EC2 instance should be unencrypted. These all some standard compliances we set up. Okay. Right. So here, I'm not going to enable it. Unnecessarily will cost us. Just go to config and it's pretty straightforward. Okay. I'll show you the steps and the screen. Click on get started. Okay. Record all resources. Record all changes happening, all resources in this region or any specific resource. You go and select resources like I want to track changes happening only on EC2 instances. You can. Okay. Or you can give all, including global resources like S3, IAM. Those are global resources, right? We can select it. Okay. So now it is going to use a service role where it is going to store all the logs. So we can create an S3 bucket. It will store. Then click on next. And here you see, these are the rules. We have 143 rules available. What exactly rule you want to enable? You can go and select that here. Okay. For example, as I told you, no S3 bucket should be public. So just search for S3. Every single rule will cost us. Config will cost us. Every single rule will cost us. So you see here, these all S3 bucket level public access prohibited. If you select this option, now what this config will do, it will go and check if any buckets are publicly accessible. Okay. So if any bucket made public, it will treat that as a non-compliant. For example, okay, you have a specific bucket. You don't want to get that coming into this rule evaluation. So then you can add something. Excluded public buckets parameter. You add a tag. So then it will exclude, okay, this bucket, I know I want to make it public. I don't want to get this resource listed in config screen. We can exclude some resources if really required. For example, if you enable this option, if any bucket is not enabled with logging, it will show all the buckets. Okay. Similar way, you take RTS. So if any DB instance backup is not enabled, it will show that. If any database is not enabled with the auto minor version upgrade, it will show that, it will treat that as a non-compliant resource. So whenever you're dealing with huge resources, good amount of resources, you manually no need to go and verify their settings. You go and enable that option here. It will get all the resources that is not enabled. So then you go and enable it. All right. So such type of rules we can configure by using this config. Then click on next, review screen, click on confirm. So then automatically it will give a dashboard. How exactly the dashboard looks like. So this is how exactly the dashboard looks like, guys. Very small. Yeah. You see, this is how exactly. So the green color ones are good. We don't have any issue. These red color ones are non-compliant resource. If you observe encrypted volumes, so 108 volumes not really encrypted in this AWS account. This is AWS screenshot only. So just to get these values, they might create the resource and all. So, required tags. 6,000 resources don't have a tag. Encrypted volume, CloudWatch alarm, 20 non-compliant resources. So you can simply click on that non-compliant resource and you can see what exactly it is. Okay. So then we can exclude or we can take a action on that. So that is one thing. Second thing we can do with this config is resource timeline. So basically, we are going to get a resource timeline for this. So the resource timeline means you created an IAM user. Initially, you have given only S3 full access. But later, after a month, that guy have admin access. Now, you want to know when his permissions are modified, who modified. So for that, we can go to config. In config, we have a timeline. You go and select the resource. It will tell, okay, on this day, this resource created. On this day, permission modified. On this day, user is disabled. On this day, user is enabled again. On this day, added more permission. So such type of entire timeline we will get with the help of config service. Okay. So that is another advantage we are going to get for this Amazon config. So these are the two primary things, right? So again, it is going to get all the data from CloudTrail. It gets all the data from CloudTrail. So any questions on this config? No? All right. So this CloudTrail logs is now storing. You see here, I'm in S3 bucket. So if we come to this AWS account, CloudTrail, AP South 1, it is US East 1, US East 2, even day-wise also, Mumbai region, 2022, December 2nd, these all are the log files. This zip files, easy. Okay, so you can download, you can use unzip software and you can. So this is one. Same, if we getting logs into CloudWatch, we can read in this manner. You see here, you can simply expand and you can read it. So what exactly we did? We can read this. It created an event actually. So 200 is success. So Avinash _ T user tried to perform something. He tried to get the logs information and that is success. What log information he tried to? He tried to view a log group and he is able to view the log group. If someone tried and if it is failed, it will show that here. So similar way, you go here, expand, it will show. Okay. So in backend, one of the service is tweaking cloud formation. What exactly it is and all. So who did that? Avinash_T user did that. So every single activity is going to store here. So it's a bit easy. You can even find the search. For example, 300 error. No 300 error. 200. All these have 200 ones. You can simply expand and you see here limit. There is a limit for 200 something. So you can easily search. So that's the reason we are putting logs into CloudTrail. All right. So, but S3 is mandatory. You need to keep all logs into S3. This is optional. Okay. Right. So can I disable this trail? Go here, delete. Right. So that is about CloudTrail and config service. Clear? Just spend some time and read about it. You don't have much things to perform on this. Hardly, if you want to create a trail, how much time it takes? Hardly 2 or 3 minutes. But some points are there. Remember that points, note down that point. Now, yeah. When coming to the next service, we are going to discuss about a service called ACM, Amazon Certificate Manager. This ACM service is designed to provide SSL certificates or TLS certificates. SSL means Secure Socket Layer. TLS means Transport Layer Security. So basically, this right. So this SSL or TLS, Transport Layer Security, will give secure over HTTP option. It gave right. So the logic is very simple, guys. So whenever you're accessing any website, so this website I'm trying to access and I'm trying to access google.com. You see here, next to this domain name, we have this lock symbol and here it is showing some exclamatory symbol. It is showing your connection to the site is not secured. It's saying your connection to the site is not secured. So why? So you should not enter any sensitive information because it could be stolen by attacker. And if you observe here, this Google one, we have a lock symbol, connection is secured. Your information is private when it is sending to the site, right? So if you take this previous one, one second, guys. Am I audible? Online, guys?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yes, sir.
You are audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the reason is here it is working with HTTP protocol and this one is working with HTTPS protocol. So whatever data you are entering to this website, whatever data you are entering this website, so that data will upload or download in plain text format. No encryption, nothing. But whenever you are taking this Google, there is an SSL certificate backend or TLS certificate in backend. So whatever information you are searching or whatever the result that is giving, so that is going to be encrypted when it is in transit state. You remember in transit or in flight state? Whenever we are sending and receiving, it will be encrypted. So now I have an EC2 instance, I have a load balancer, and the EC2 instance or load balancer is delivering a web page, right? So, but when I'm trying to map my domain name and all, it is showing unencrypted. So I want to get a SSL certificate. I want to apply an SSL certificate for my website. Then I want to deliver it. So for that, first we need to have a SSL certificate. But before that, you need to have a domain name. Then you need to have a hosted zone. Then you can create an SSL certificate. That SSL certificate you can apply to your EC2 instance, your load balancer and all. So that is what we are going to discuss now. So first, quickly, I'll take an EC2 instance. I'll make it as a web server. I'll create a load balancer. Okay. I'll create a load balancer and I'll deliver a web page. Right. So quickly, I'm going to do that. Launch instance. And I'm going to call this as my web server. I'm taking Amazon Linux, key pair, my Linux KP. It's in public subnet, existing security group, Linux SG, 8 gigs, and I'll use this user data, guys, just to save some time to instead of getting connected and all. By this time, we can type, right? Come on, where it is? Okay. Okay. So now launch instance. So it's going to launch an EC2 instance. It will install that user data. So meanwhile, I'll create a load balancer. First, create a target group. Create target group. Instance, target group name. Give any name. WebTG, port number 80. It performing health check to slash. Okay, it's under custom VPC. I'm selecting the instance. Include as pending below. Create. So then create load balancer. I'm creating an application load balancer. Application load balancer. Learn AWS is a domain I'm going to map. Internet facing IPv4. What VPC? Custom VPC. Mapping. I'm selecting public subnet. Both public subnets. Security group. Do I have any ELBSG? No. I'll go with Linux SG. I'll open HTTP for everyone. And target group, I'm selecting an existing target group. Now you see here. So we are opening only port number 80. We are opening only port number 80. So again, port number 80 is HTTP protocol, not HTTPS. Again, it will show as an unsecured only. Okay. If we are adding a listener for 443, here if I am selecting HTTPS, it is taking 443. Fine. Whatever the traffic coming on 443, I am sending to a target group. But here, if you select 443, it is asking you select an SSL certificate. But I don't have any SSL certificate. So initially, I'm not opening HTTPS. Let's go with HTTP. Scroll down, create load balancer. Now load balancer is creating. Is our instance ready? Let's test the output of instance first. No. Let's verify security group. All right, port number is not opened. So go here, edit inbound, open HTTP. I'm also opening HTTPS. However, I'm going to open HTTPS later and I'm going to make it anywhere for everyone. Save rules. Go back here, give a refresh. It's working. So instance is fine. No issue with instance. Now test the load balancer output. Load balancer is still provisioning. Meanwhile, I'll go to route 53 and I'll go to route 53 and I'll map my domain name to my load balancer endpoint name. Navigate to hosted zone. Okay, create record. A record. Along with that, I'm going to enable alias. Route traffic to application load balancer. It's in Mumbai region. Load balancer name I'm selecting. I'm going with simple routing policy. Then create record. Now what happened? Whoever is trying to access learn aws.co.in, the request comes. It goes to load balancer. Load balancer check with the target group. Target group checks with EC2 instance. Whatever output EC2 instance is giving, it comes to load balancer. Load balancer is mapped with our domain name. So it gives output. And it uses HTTP protocol. First of all, I want to apply an SSL certificate. For that, I need to have an SSL certificate or TLS certificate. For that, go to a service called ACM. So where is our load balancer? In what region? It's in Mumbai region. So whenever we are in Mumbai region, so our SSL certificate also should be in Mumbai region only. Okay, our SSL certificate also should be in Mumbai region. If you create in Northern Virginia and if you try to find that in Mumbai, it won't. Now I'm in Mumbai region. Click on request a certificate. Request a public certificate. Click on next. Now, what is your FQDN, fully qualified domain name? My domain name is learnaws.co.in. We can, if you're using any subdomains, for example, admin dot or learn.learnaws.co.in or azure.learnaws.co.in, such type of subdomains if we have, then what we can do, we can give a wildcard entry dot learnaws.co.in. So basically this wildcard, right? You can give anything in place of the star, then it is going to be. So if you have only one and if you want to map, you just go with it. Okay, so I'm going with it. So then DNS validation. How you are going to prove your ownership? Simply, can I give google.com and can I get a SSL certificate for Google? No, right? So I'm giving learnaws.co.in here. So then I'm going to prove my ownership with DNS validation. Where my application is hosted, okay, so there I'm going to create a record. If it is an email, I'm going to get which email I have used to purchase a domain. I get an email, I need to click on that link. So the first one is easy and it's recommended also. So I'm going with that option. What is algorithm? I'm going with default algorithm. Then click on request. Now an SSL request is created. It's pending validation. So what we need to do to complete that validation? So scroll down, you see this, create records in route 53. If your domain is somewhere else, you can export to CSP. Whatever the CNAME records we have, you create there. So click on create records in route 53. Select the hosted zone, create records. Now automatically, we will get a couple of records. How many records we have now? 3. If you give a refresh, once that action is completed, we will get 2 more records. Is that completed? No. What happened to this? Okay, it is creating now. If we go here, earlier 3 records, but now you see 4 records. There is a new record created for canonical name. So that means, okay, AWS is verifying we have permission on this domain name to use. So then AWS will give a certificate. It won't take much time. Yeah, you see here, AWS issued a certificate now. Okay, I have not applied yet. Let's test this. Learn aws.co.in. You see, it is saying not secured. Fine. So if you give HTTPS, what happens? HTTPS:// learn-aws.co.in. If I enter, it's saying not working. But when I gave HTTP, it's working. When I gave HTTPS, it's not working. Okay. So obviously it is not secure to use HTTP. I want to get that HTTPS. So for that, first go to your load balancer, navigate to listeners, add listener. Whatever traffic coming to HTTPS, you forward the request to the target group we already have. Same target group. Now, scroll down. Whatever SSL certificate you have applied, select that SSL certificate here. Then click on add. Now, we have port number 80, it is listening. Port number 443, it is listening. Now, if we go here, okay, this is all HTTP. This is all HTTP. Yes, now it is working. Right? You see that? I'm using HTTPS protocol here. And here it is showing secured. Here it is showing not secured. Okay. So this is how you apply an SSL certificate. But now one small point. Now, are you going to ask every client to do, okay, you use HTTPS:// then only use my domain name. If you are giving HTTP, it is not secured and all, you are not going to inform them, right? Even if they are giving HTTP:// also, it should redirect to HTTPS automatically. If they manually enter HTTP also, it should redirect automatically. For that, what we need to do? Okay. So for that, we need to add a redirection rule in our web server, not on AWS consoles. Okay. We need to do that in our web server configuration. So for that, we need to get connected to our EC2 instance. Grab the instance public IP address. Even, yeah, that is a standard process in organization also. SSH-I EC2-use. Type yes. So we got connected to this instance and I'm clearing the screen here. So basically the redirection rule, there is a small script actually. This is a link. I'm going to share this link. If you are using Apache, this is a link. This is a code you need to write. The small code, you need to write it into HTTPD configuration file. Where the configuration locates, it's under etc HTTPD conf. There is a file called HTTPD conf file. So there we need to. Okay. So first we got connected. Go to that location. There is a file called http.conf. Open it with VIM editor. See, I'm working as a root user, so no need to add sudos and all. So VIM http.conf. Press I to go to insert mode. You know that. So you can find a line called virtual host. Go till that line. Listen. Okay. There is a line called listen. Whatever the script you copied, right? This particular script, you paste it here. So you see here, it is doing a rewrite. If any request is coming with HTTP, it is rewriting it to HTTPS, then HTTP host. So it is going to, right? Press escape :WQ. Now we did modified some configuration. Better to restart the service, otherwise it won't. Service HTTPD restart. Okay. Service now restarting, it's restarted. Just observe this thing, guys. Earlier, when I gave HTTP, it showed not secured. Now also it is with HTTP only. Okay, if I give a refresh, it's going to HTTPS automatically. Okay, even if I manually give HTTP:// you see here, I'm giving HTTP. When I click on enter, it is automatically redirecting to HTTPS. So you cannot inform client, okay, you use only HTTPS and all. If we gave HTTPS, it is well and good. Even if we gave HTTP, it takes him to HTTPS automatically. Okay, so that is a rewrite rule. So as that ACM, the route 53 is involved, that's the reason I have not explained HTTPS in our load balancer session. Got it? So any questions on this ACM, Amazon Certificate Manager, or redirecting or mapping your domain name? Any questions on this? Amazon Certificate Manager is free. It's not going to cost anything. Free. And basically those certificates comes with 1 year validity.
Sir, you are not audible.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. All right. So you see here, so you can find all that certificate information. When we got the certificate, till what date it is going, we can use it, when it is going to expire, what is the mechanism, right? So you can find all that certificate information also. Okay. So that is ACM. Remember that service name, Amazon Certificate Manager. Okay. We have. So if you already have a certificate, if you want to upload that, we have an option to import certificate here. What is the certificate body? What is the certificate private key? What is the certificate sign? You provide that information. And in next step, it's just adding a tag, and third step, review and import. So if you already have a certificate, yes, you can. You can use that here. Yeah. Any questions? So tomorrow, so how about tomorrow? You are okay to come? All right. Yeah, I'm okay. Okay. Fine. We don't have session tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Next session will be on Monday. And I'll post another quiz document in our Slack channel, test 2. Okay. So you will have 120 questions now. Last one is 60 and this one is 60. 120 questions. Spend some time and complete that. Okay. And tasks. DMS is pending. VPC, RDS is pending. Just go through that. Complete all the tasks. As I told you, today you have seen, right? All our individual services. CloudWatch, we discussed in 20 minutes. Config 10 minutes.
ACM 15 to 20 minutes. Individual services. So similar way, remaining services also individual services only. When can we get answers for the test questions? Is your answers ready, Rohit? If your answers ready, yeah, I will share that. How many classes are pending? Okay. So first, Monday we will discuss about CloudFront and some very basic application services. And Tuesday we will discuss about Lambda and CloudFormation. So then we will discuss about DevOps. So then we will discuss about AWS organizations. Okay. So content wise, we can complete it by Friday. So Saturday, we will discuss regular things that is purely optional. Or if you want me to, I can even do it on Monday also. The regular, what is your day-to-day activities going to be? Okay. And what need to add it to your resume? How you can promote, how you can write a project and the description in your resume. Those all things I will talk on 12th or 10th. Probably 10th, preferable is 10th. Okay, yeah. So I will get, when can we get interview questions? I will share that by Monday or Tuesday. I have that share.zip. I'll share that share.zip that contains a lot of questions. Okay, by next Friday, that means in a week, done. Topics and all completes. So this week, right, it looks like dry. The reason all small services and also it looks bit dry. So, but you need to spend some time and you need to read about the services. Right. So make sure you terminate all your resources. Keep an eye on your billing dashboard. Don't leave any resource in running state.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
We have done the SSL certs topic now. I have seen at somewhere like it is going to expire within 20 days, like 30 days, like that.
Yeah.
What does it mean? Like again, we need to regenerate it?
Yes, we need to renew it.
Then
Renewal. Even whatever the SSL certificate we generated here, it has a validity. If you observe, so this is like, issued at and renewable eligibility, it is eligible. So by this time, I need to renew the certificate. By 2024, I need to renew the certificate.
Okay.
Otherwise, again, it is going to give that certificate expire error.
Okay. Then
Yeah.
what is the meaning of like why we need to generate CSR information? Like I have seen somewhere it required CSR information also. Right?
In AWS, CSR information is not really required. If you are requesting a certificate from certificate authority and all, so they are going to ask you the CSR information like your organization, your phone number, your organization phone number, details and all. So they are going to give you a public as well as private key. But here, AWS is already keeping public key with them. Okay. Where exactly we want to apply this private certificate, we can apply to all our AWS resources. For example, you see here, this certificate can be used with CloudFront, can be used with load balancer, can be used with API gateway. So, as this certificate is given by AWS, as you are using AWS to host your application, you no need to create any CSR files.
Okay.
If it is like, your on-premise server, right? You just have a server, you want to install that certificate inside that. So you need to have a certificate, right?
Yes.
So to get that certificates, you need to fill that information and you need to share. Okay. Answers your question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. So there is an organization, CA, Certificate Authority. So they will give SSL certificates and all. Even We even have like, a lot of websites, third-party websites also. For example, GoDaddy also will give SSL certificate. GoDaddy, SSL. They will also give SSL certificate, right? So you see, domain validation certificate, DVSSL, organizational. So they will cost us. Yeah. All right. So instance terminated, then load balancer need to. All right. Any questions? Any questions for me, guys? Okay. So if no questions, so that's it for today's session. See you again on Monday. Have a nice weekend, guys. Thank you.